Okay, this thing works. It'll burn twigs, bark, pine cones, scrapwood, charcoal, cow pies, charcoal briquettes, anything burnable that everybody in the universe in their panic situation is overlooking. Every spring when they put all that stuff out onto the front and say, all right, county, clean it up. You know, when you get, they put a dumpster and you got 24 hours to everyone's throwing their stuff in the dumpster. Others just pile and they come along and scoop it up. There's a year's supply of fuel on stuff that they're throwing away in those piles that you could use in this little stove. It runs on this is a single AA battery pack, and I modified some with a single D battery on the other side so I could use a D because it has a lot more energy stored in it, a lot more milliamp hours stored in it. And there's a little switch on here, it's an off or a low or a high. And this bottom piece, spring loads, comes apart, you put it in here, this stuff wraps around, that comes apart, those go in here, it goes into a little pot with a little lid that acts like a little mini fry pan, and it all stores in a nice little package like this. If you had one D battery, you could buy a 10-pack at Home Depot or Lowe's or something like that, you can have a year's supply of cooking because it burns stuff that everyone else is overlooking. What do I need? I need logs. I'm gonna cut my fence down. I'm gonna cut my neighbor's tree down. I'm freezing, but they're leaving all these twigs and stuff.
What does the battery do?
It runs a fan, just like a blacksmith's forge. You know, it gets it really flaming hot. This thing turns on. Have you ever blown on a fire and then as soon as you stop blowing on it, it dies down real quick? But you imagine if you just never stop blowing on it? My brother literally takes his blow dryer out there and just gets the charcoals going real fast. But you put it together, the fan blows up, it's a double wall construction, there's an opening at the bottom, there's little holes along the inside at the bottom. So all that oxygen is blowing right on it. You can start it with these little, they compressed the wax tabs, you get a little cube, you get it started, or some other tinder, and get it going, and then you can start throwing twigs in there.
Liquid oxygen works faster.
Pardon?
Liquid oxygen works faster.
Yeah, but storing a year's supply of liquid oxygen would cause you either to explode and die, or explode and kill everyone in the neighborhood, and then they will put you in jail forever if you're not dead.
But if you're an engineer, you don't care about that.
Oh, okay, that's true. But yeah, this is really cool. You cannot use it as a backpack stove, even though it's kind of cool, in areas where they're restricted fire because you actually burning twigs and bark. And some of that could be damp and it could go pop and the little one could go off in the wind, in the grass, and you got a $12 million fire you're paying for. So, but it's not bad. I always used to joke, if you have a Kosovo moment, you had to head for the hills for a month, you know, or a year or whatever. I even have a little flashlight that runs on 2D batteries and a little LED light. It goes for 4 months, turned on. It's low power, but it runs for 4 months. And I modified a little radio with a 2D pack, and so you could use the AA's or the D's. You put 2 D's in there, turn it on, and you could be listening to AM radio. You could be listening to broadcasts from Mexico, Canada, whatever. You could be listening for 4 months straight. And if you had rechargeable, and a little solar panel that charges up your rechargeable batteries, then you'd have an unlimited supply. Unless you're in the Arctic and there are no twigs. Bark, pine cones, scrapwood, cardboard, or cow pies, especially those cow pies. I mean, not a lot of cow pies in there. But anyhow, it's a great little option stove. Okay, Chester, I think, makes these. Somebody in Chester makes these. They also make the tents that go with them. And they're collapsible or small. When I went scout camping, I wanted to teach the boys how to make snow caves. All the adults set up the huge tent, and they were all in there with the stove and the water and their cots and their thick pads and everything. It's like, that's not teaching any of the kids anything. I was really disappointed with them. And we did another snow cave camp, and we were the only, myself and my 3 boys were the only ones that built snow caves, and the other boys were freezing. It was 10 below that night, and they got up and, we're cold, okay, come with me, let's go down in the parking lot. Let's get in the car, turn it on, let it idle, and warm myself. All that taught the boys, if they don't have somebody to come bail them out when they're cold, they're gonna die. My boys go, if it gets cold, I can build a snow cave and I can sleep comfortably. And I had one of Jim Phillips' prototype sleeping bags. And my son had my extreme cold weather army sleeping bag. And I put a tarp on the sleeping shelf. We had a cold sink, so the cold air could go down here. And in the cold air in the cold sink, it was 23 degrees warmer than it was outside. And we were up on this shelf. And I was afraid, I had taken an EMT course. I was afraid my son's gonna freeze. And every movie made it. Is this the lowest level? Is this the bottom level of the hypothermia? Is he going into convulsions? What? And finally he goes, I can't stand it. I'm so hot. I'm going to sleep. I'm not going to wake up for every movie you make now because I know you're toasty. So anyhow, but yes, you can get these and you can get them in a portable home tent. And I suggest everybody get something like that so you have a little backup. And if you have to leave, like plenty of people that had to leave real fast, we'll try. I'll see if I can post my class on evacuation and emergency transportation. Who's seen one of those classics? I've got 2 of them now. And the house that I bought had a reproduction one, and what he did is he ran copper tubing through here and literally went through the wall and into his water heater. I don't know if that was proper way of doing it, but it seemed to have worked because he's plenty of soot in the chimney after the new owner, the guy that bought it from them, they took out the stoves like, no, that was my favorite part, put it back. Well, we're not gonna do it, you have to hire somebody and it's on them. But these are cool, 6 burners, a lot of them have a water reservoir here, they have an oven here, they have a place to put the wood, capture the stuff. They've got 2 warming ovens, and they're classic. So anyhow. But, by the way, if everybody in the county got a wood burning stove, how long do you think our trees in our valley would last?
Not very long.
You cannot rely on a wood burning stove and think that's the solution for everybody. Get your phone closed, get your cooking requirements down. While everyone else is freezing or freaking out, trying to scalp the entire mountainside, you're gonna be sitting pretty and warm. Okay. Solar. I didn't know there's more than 2 different kinds of solar ovens. LDS Prepper YouTube channel tested out 2 of them. He likes the other style a little bit better. But whatever you do, and you can make a whole bunch of different versions of it. There's even one where you can take a jar, you paint it black, you put your soup or whatever you're cooking in there. There's a cardboard you can line or glue some foil on it, and you make little fan-like bends in it and coils it into a cone. You put that in the bottom, and all that light comes in and hits that black, warms that bottle up real quick. And but real quick, I just learned of a cool idea I saw it in YouTube, University of YouTube. It's a great university. Most of the time, some of the instructors suck. Some of them are fantastic. Hopefully, if I get my channel going, you'll think, he kind of sucks, but he's actually knows some really good stuff too. So, but what they did is this guy put a little photovoltaic solar panel here, just out of light. When he aimed at, they were all in the shadows. But as soon as the sun moved and hit this panel, it actuated a motor that made it go this way, and then when it got out of the sun, it didn't move anymore. It was an automatic tracker. And kept it perfectly oriented up and down and left and right. That you could figure out one of those, put it on your solar oven, and you would have the perfect optimum, nice hot cooking all the time. All right, this one I've seen, it's a vacuum tube. You put the food in the tray, it goes in here because it's a vacuum tube. Why do you have triple pane windows? Is there lots of regular air in there? No. They usually fill with nitrogen or by vacuum even, I think maybe, but they put something in there where the regular heat doesn't go away through conduction or convection. The heat comes into the glass through radiation, but it can't get out, so therefore it builds up the heat inside, which means it can get hot, and so it could be dangerous, but there are a number of different kinds in here. You can put your food in there and cook up a bunch of food in this little trough in there, and it uses some. There are even some that are portable versions of it that you could possibly get. Who has an old pizza dish from Dish TV or something when they upgraded or they moved? Did they keep the one and use the old one up there, or did they just take them off and start over with a brand new one?
Throw it away.
They usually throw these away, the old pizza dish, satellite dishes. There's ways you can line these things with foil, and this is called the feed horn, where normally the receptor picks up all the signal, because this kind of magnifies the signal like a directional antenna kind of thing. But you could design that in such a way you can put a pot on there that's painted black, and just be real careful when you put it on, and that focal point would be right there underneath that, and you could cook up some stuff real fast. But that will be your version of your stove. The other one would be your oven. Electrical options. You got your solar panels, and this is kind of like what you said. You have a Jackery or Goal Zero. They have Net Zero. That dates me. dial up, you know, whatever. Anyhow, they have a lot of these nowadays, and you can get these folding solar panels, which are nice. And Jim Phillips had a really good idea. I said, man, I want to get panels on my roof and this and that. And he says, if you do that, you're advertising to everyone else, hey, look at me, I'm prepared, I think ahead. I probably have a lot of stuff you can come loot from me. So maybe you might want to go a little under, you know, under the radar. And he has a smaller system that's in a Faraday cage that's protected against EMP. By the way, if you do want to get one, I have not confirmed this, and I suppose if their guarantee was false and they didn't survive an EMP, try getting them after an EMP. But anyhow, Sol, as in solar, or a day, you know, Ark, as in Noah's Ark, they claim to be EMP proof, and there may be 20% more. But if you want to do a solar system, you could consider doing them. But or you could just get a smaller system, protect it in a Faraday cage, and then you wait till after the first EMP. And by the way, they're probably going to have a second one. So just be ready for the cleanup EMP to clean out everything else. That's why I have 10 CBs that I got for cheap, because that was right. I'll hook up another one. Sorry, just had a little EMP glitch. I'm back to business. We're talking again. So anyhow. We'll do a whole nother thing on communications another time. But these can fold up, and you can actually have them. I have an overland rig that I'm making out of an old ambulance. You've probably seen that white ambulance with a big orange stripe driving around four-wheel drive. That's me. That's my search and rescue response vehicle. And but it's going to be a great little vehicle to warm up people if they get cold out there while they're searching or whatever. Bring in the kids been out. I have a little microwave in there and everything, but I want to set up some house batteries and have a little fridge in there that's small enough to handle a little bottle of mayonnaise and a little bottle of, you know, small condiments and maybe leftovers from one meal for one day's worth. But and that would hopefully be able to operate that provided it survived the EMP. But anyhow, have a small little set of panels, and then this is an induction cooker. You ever seen these before? They have some where they cut a quarter of the pan out and they pour an egg on it, half of it goes on the cooktop and half of it goes in the pan. Only the part in the pan cooks. This doesn't produce any heat. It just creates an induction field that causes the molecules in an iron or metal, it has to be iron, it can't be stainless steel, but it causes the pan to start heating up. And so the pan cooks it, not the stove. The stove will get some residual heating because it's touching the hot pan, but if there's nothing on there, the thing just turns off. It says, well, there's nothing on here to induce a field or heat it up, so it just turns off. But I found one of those at Standard Restaurant Supply. I talked him into selling me their display model. Some people found them in industrial places. I think somebody said they found one at a place called NPS Industrial. But then again, they don't get the same thing every time, so it's just luck of the draw. Yeah.
What powers it?
It's a 110, so you need an inverter. And I'm gonna have that in my little mini motorhome, so I don't have to worry about flames on the inside using up oxygen or anything. And add a little microwave in there so I could heat up some stuff and cook some stuff. You could also use a little Instant Pot. There's a gentleman that has a YouTube channel, and he goes around doing adventures on pretty tame roads with a Prius, and he sleeps inside. And it has a little outlet, and he has a little mini microwave and a little Instant Pot, and he cooks in there, and he sleeps in there, and it's designed to temper regulate, and so when it gets a little cold, about once an hour, it starts up for 5 minutes and warms up inside. He sleeps in there, and it gets 50 miles a gallon. It's not good for rock crawling, which is my thing, but he has a little electric thing that he has all the, you know, he cooks in and uses that. There's the microwave, you can use that, and sometimes people build all hazard shelters that go underground. You don't want to use propane in those shelters because propane is heavier in air. If you have a leak in that, it's just going to pool in the bottom of your shelter and it's not going to go anywhere. It's going to be dangerous, especially if you put your kid down on the ground and they're in a little puddle of propane. That would not be good. So don't use those heavier than air deals. You can use alcohol in there, but you can also use electric setup if you had that. Use a microwave. Is that it?
That's it.
Okay, let me show you these other ones. I'll try to get closer. No idea. All right, we'll go.